Welcome back to NewsX. I'm Thomas Porteous and you're watching Focal Length, where we get you a briefing on topics from across the world. In today's episode, we will discuss Israel's perspective on the conflict with Hamas and Houthi, from discussing the latest report by the Human Rights Watch, which accuses Israel of committing genocide, to understand if Trump is better equipped to negotiate a Israel-Hamas peace deal. Let's find out. Joining us is Amit Halevi, an Israeli politician who has served as a member of the Knesset for Likud since 2023. He also held the same office from 2020 to 2021. He graduated from the School of Public Policy at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, and later he jointly established the Jewish Statesmanship Center. He also served in the 7th Armored Brigade of Israeli Defense Forces. Thank you for joining us, Amit Halevi. My first question to you is, what do you have to say about the latest report by Human Rights Watch about how the water flow is being deliberately stopped from entering Gaza, accusing Israel of committing genocide?
Okay, this is actually an industry of lies, because Israel is doing in Gaza Strip, much more than necessary according to the international law. As you should know, international law allows nations to make effective siege if they see that the aid is actually come to the enemy. As you know, we're not doing it. I mean, there are hundreds of trucks a day of it's not only food, it's many kinds of humanitarian aid that go into Gaza. So those lies are actually it's the old anti-Semitist way of thinking and way of behaving against Israel. I don't think we need to treat it seriously. And what we should do in Gaza Strip, and we yet didn't do, is to have a victory. I mean, to have a total victory and to defeat Hamas. These are not only our enemies; these are the free world enemies. And so, what we should do, that after we give humanitarian option, I mean, let's say in the northern of Gaza, after we do give the humanitarian path, and everyone, the population can move to the southern side of their places, yes, of Gaza, then we should make effective siege in order to defeat the enemy. That's we need to do, we must do, not only for our citizens, not only, by the way, also for the kids in Gaza. Yes, what is the future of the kids of Gaza? Future of terror, of barbarian way of life, of normal life of justice and good future of human beings. So what we are doing in Gaza, it's not only that we are not doing something in contradiction to the current humanitarian law, and of course not things that you have just remind. What we are doing is actually we are building a new future in the Middle East, which will be a future that is based on our biblical Abrahamic values. That's what we need to do. And in order to implement this vision, yes, we need to fight, because there are very, very bad people, extremists in the other side, and we need to defeat them.
Do you think it is necessary to strike Gaza like Israel does every day, killing thousands of innocent people until a hostage deal is negotiated?
During a war, there are many wounded and people that are being killed. This is the nature of war. The real question is, what is your target? And again, our target is to take off and to wipe out the Hamas regime. That's what happened since June 2007. This terror organization actually took over the state of Gaza. I mean, this is a small state. They had since then, state tools like religious, culture, education, international relations, economy, everything. This is horrible situation, as we see by the way, in Iran, also nowadays in Syria. I mean, terror organization actually takes over a state, a country. This is impossible. So what we are doing in Gaza is not that we are killing innocent people. Let's say everybody here, there are peaceful civilians. Yes, we give the humanitarian option to everyone that wants different life, that wants a secure future, to go to the humanitarian zones and to live there while we are actually defeating the enemy. That's what we are doing. We are doing it too much gently. I mean, we should do it much more in much more aggressive way. And as I said before, we are doing much more than needed accordingly to the international law. Just look what happened when the Americans, how they acted in Mosul, in Iraq. Look on the British Army ethic code or ethic code of military activities. Everything is very clear and very simple. Again, we are doing much less than it's necessary and right. And that's why I suggest you not to be too much impressed from those anti-Semitist titles in some newspapers.
Do you think the end of the war in Gaza is in sight?
I tell you what, the only thing that impact this type of enemy like Hamas is not negotiation. He's not really negotiating with you or with anybody else. He doesn't see. I mean, the Hamas people don't see the hostages like human beings. It's only a tool for them, part of the war. So I'm not impressed from the titles of Qatar. There was a meeting here, meeting there. These are nonsense. The real parameter, the real the major element that has impact over Hamas it's only the military action that the IDF of Israel is doing. I mean, the only thing that really makes pressure on Hamas is our military activities. And we started a few more weeks ago, actually, in the northern of Gaza, a serious military activities, very good ones in Jabalia, in Bet Hanun, in Atatra, in Bet Laiha, those villages and towns that are actually north to Gaza City. That's the place that we're working now. We need to do it very strong. Again, all the humanitarian, all the people or population, women, kids, whoever wants to go to the south, they are allowed to do it, and they can do it. And they did it, by the way. More than 100,000 of citizens in these areas that I mentioned moved into Gaza City. So now the work of the IDF is actually to take out all the Hamas, to defeat all the Hamas soldiers and others that actually stayed in those places, and that's the major thing that actually has impact on this negotiation. Nothing else. Don't be mistaken. It's not question that President Biden will smile or Anthony Blinken will come with his tie. No smiles and no ties. The only thing that Hamas consider is the fact that he is losing his power in this war. That's why we need to put it on the table. We are going to do, and I'm saying here, we are going to do in Gaza City what we did in Jabalia. That should be very clear, and this is the only thing that actually can cause this hostages deal to be earlier.
Do you think Trump is better equipped to negotiate a truce between Israel and Hamas?
Trump administration, and of course the President Trump, the elected President Trump, can be a better umbrella in order to make sure that all these processes in the Middle East, including hostages deal, will be much better and much quicker, because the current policy of the current administration is actually not enough strong with our enemies, but rather to be strong with them. He preferred to make many deals, like with the Iranian regime, and it's it's unbelievable. But also with the Syrian new regime, which is not less extremer than the Hamas or the Ayatollah regime. And still, this government, the White House, the current White House, is negotiate with them, and there were several high-ranking officials that come to Syria last week. It seems that part of us didn't really learn the lesson of October 7th.
Do you think a hostage exchange can be struck with Hamas?
I think it is, but only from the reason that I just mentioned. Hostages deal, it is an outcome of our strong military activities. When we did it in the beginning of the war, I'm talking about October 27, 2023, so the Hamas thought that maybe we are going to do it all over Gaza. So he was afraid. That's the reason. That's actually the only reason, or at least the major reason, that he wanted that hostages deal. And the same thing is now. As long as we push more, as long as we will do what we are doing, not only in Jabalia but also in Gaza City, in Rafah, in Khan Yunis, everybody that wants can go to the humanitarian zone, and then we take over the city as every army would have done. That's what we need to do. So if you ask me if there is a chance, yes, there is a chance, but the chances depend in the power of our military activities, nothing else, not Qatar, not Trump, not Biden, not money or trade issues, things like only this. This is the major thing, and I hope that we are in the direction. I think, I'm a member in the Foreign Affairs and Security Committee. There was today one of our constant discussions, and I said here is what I'm saying actually since the beginning of the war. We need to do different operations in order to cause Hamas to move to the things like hostages deal. It's not what we're doing. We're not doing enough. But I hope that we're on the way.
What do you have to say about Israeli forces capturing more Syrian territory in Golan Heights? Israel has come under global criticism for this.
I think that we need, and when I say we, I mean all the free world countries, we need to demand international committee, international conference in order to discuss the Syria borders inside and outside. As you know, that it's more than 100 years and more, there was the Sykes-Picot Agreement that actually created all the borders in the Middle East. Unfortunately, while he ignored the cultural, religious, geographical, historical dimensions and facts. Yes, so what we need, and that's why this fiction named Syria, it was not a real state. Yes, it was actually a fictive country, was actually collapsed. Yes, and here we have the tribes, the Kurdian, the Druze, the Sunni, and others. And we need to discuss this issue of what is Syria today. And we cannot allow that, Erdogan from Turkey, or what's happening right now on behalf of Erdogan. It's actually those radical Muslims like El-Julani. He is ISIS. Yes, he was ISIS. Then he became Al-Qaeda, and now he cut his bird a little bit. And we are the European people and the American current administration. All of them are so impressed, like Hitler would do it to his stomach. So I think this is unacceptable. I think we need to change our attitude to this terror organization, because what we see today in Syria is actually that what we saw in June 2007 in Gaza Strip. Yes, what we see is actually terror organization that takes over a state. He will have state tools. I mean, he will have this is the bad formula that you have a regime with murderous ideology. This is something that the free world cannot accept. We didn't accept it 8 years ago with the Nazis regime. We cannot accept it with the El Julani regime or with the Ayatollah regime. This is the same. He just takes the time, in order to stabilize his status in Syria and to kill people that he needs to kill, and that's what he's doing nowadays. And that's why we need to make sure that those, as I said, there are minorities like the Alawan, the former Assad community, which is still now, I think there are more than 1 million people in Anatolia, in all the northern western side of Syria, and you have the Kurdian and you have the Druze. You have many groups and tribes. We cannot allow that Syria will be a terror state, exactly like El Julani wants. That's why I think that Israel, besides the fact that we now in the Golan Heights, all the places that actually we went back in 1974, now we took them again. Of course, it's reasonable and very important for our security. Besides all this, we need also to announce a very clear demand that we cannot accept this actually conquered Syria by this terror organization led by El Julani. This should be. It's not legitimate. We must fight against the legitimacy that we see now of the Western world. It seems that we didn't learn the real lesson from October 7th. So I think this is also part of our work, not only from the security point of view, but also from the political point of view. Yes. We should not accept this kind of regime in our northern border.
Do you think the ouster of Assad from Syria will revive ISIS presence in the Middle East?
First of all, ISIS and Al-Qaeda, which are the sources of El Julani. El Julani, now that he takes this and he becomes the governor of Syria, he himself, he and his people are Daesh, ISIS, and Al-Qaeda. Never mind the nuance, there are a few disagreements here and there. In general, they are in the same murderous ideology. So that's one. But second, what you can see, that Iran took the steps back, yes, because we hit it and other things. But Turkey is actually get in. I mean, from one side, we made a very strong hit over the Iranian regime proxies but from the other hand, you see Turkey that is seriously involved in this in Syria. Not from today, by the way. It seems that it was for a lot of months before October 7 even. Yes, it was very ordinary plan of the Turkey regime and people to take over Syria and to fight the Kurds and other targets. And more than that, this is part of the new actually aspiration of Erdogan to bring back the Ottoman Empire, yes, to its sizes. And they have a very, very planned activities regarding all the Sunnis in the Middle East. I mean, they are not talking only about Syria. They are involving in Libya, of course in Syria now. They aim to do it in Lebanon, in Jordan. I mean, they have a very ordinary plan for the Sunni people. That's why Egypt, as you see, actually make the connections with the Iranian regime now, although these are Shian and these are Sunni, but it's here to block Turkey. So we need to be concerned regarding the fact that we pushed out the Iranian regime, but we got the Turkey Erdogan regime, which is not less extreme and dangerous.
How do Israeli forces plan on tackling the Houthi attacks?
Yes, yes. I think we gave, first of all, we're not going, we don't accept these attacks, and we cannot accept them. I mean, not only that we don't accept them, that's obvious. I mean to say that the Houthi regime, the bottom line will be exactly like Assad regime. I mean, if they think that they can they can attack Israel, weekly basis, and they will stay. This is a very, very big mistake, and I hope that you will see in the following days what is the Israeli IDF answer, because it's impossible that this group of people actually will do these horrible. I'm not talking only about the missiles over Israel, also the fact that they are blocking the ships in the sea, and all the other things they did in Yemen itself. I mean, I think that our people, and include the Yemen people, they don't want to see this type of regime anymore. I think that the Iranian people are the same. I mean, the majority of the Iranian people also don't want this terrible and murderous regime on their heads. So I hope that under Trump administration, we will see a different Middle East. It will take time, not everything is in one day, but the Houthi regime will not stay like it is today.
And with that, we come to the end of this episode of Focal Length. Thank you so much, Amit Halevi, for joining us. For more international news updates, stay tuned on NewsX.